recap of Monday Night Raw for May the 24th, 2021. Coming up in a couple of months, WWE will be going back to having events with fans in attendance, and until then, we might be for some very boring, run-of-the-mill television. Little spoiler alert as to what I thought of this week's Raw, but we got a review to do, a recap. Let's go ahead and get started. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Hopefully I can entertain you more than I was entertained by this episode of Raw. We kicked off with MVP in the ring, introducing the WWE Champion, Bobby Lashley. He had his ladies with him, was feeling pretty good even though last week he lost to Kofi Kingston. They did show footage from last week, and MVP brought up how WWE is leaving the Thunderdome and the fans will get to see the WWE Champion in the flesh again. However, there is a dark cloud hovering over them, and that is Drew McIntyre. And Bobby Lashley said if it's up to him, the rematch with McIntyre is a no-go. McIntyre had his shot. That is that. McIntyre interrupted, said his business is getting back the WWE title. He's going to do whatever it takes. And he said if it wasn't for MVP at WrestleMania and Braun Strowman being in a triple threat match, he would have beaten Lashley. And said maybe Lashley doesn't have the balls to fight him. Lashley said Drew McIntyre is desperate and pathetic, and I'm here agreeing with the heel. I feel that Lashley is right about McIntyre. We had the New Day interrupt. Of course, Kofi Kingston beat Lashley last week. Drew McIntyre told Kofi, "You're welcome." Little arrogant prick there. Maybe Drew McIntyre is turning heel. I don't know, but something needs to be done here. Kofi said he did not need Drew's help. He was there because he never got his WWE title rematch. So what has it been? Like almost 2 years now, Kofi Kingston finally cares about getting his WWE title rematch after losing to Brock. Said that Drew McIntyre has got a ton of opportunities and lost. Kofi's right. And said that he did something that Drew could not do in several attempts, and that's pin Lashley. Adam Pearce interrupted with some weird-ass music. I think it was the Raw song, but I'm not even sure. And announced that it would be Drew McIntyre versus Kofi Kingston right there on the spot, with the winner facing Lashley at the pay-per-view. And of course, MVP was very satisfied with this announcement from Adam Pearce. Marquand 1976 with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Says, you are already more entertaining, Aaron. Have $5. Again, thank you. And Hamp Connell, happy birthday, Hamp, with a $5 super chat. Says, thank you for the birthday wish. I'm in Facebook jail again, so I can't respond. Well, I'll say this. I know it's going to mean nothing because he's not watching or nobody from his team is watching. But Mark Zuckerberg, give Hamp a break and lift his Facebook ban. Request from me. I know it's going to be denied and nobody from Facebook is listening, but who knows? Never say never. Maybe somebody out there knows somebody who knows somebody that knows Mark Zuckerberg. Dr. NXT Scorpio with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, Impact Wrestling is better than Monday Night rematches. Well, I have not been following Impact lately, but you might be right, my friend. Throughout the show, we had a series of promos from wrestlers to hype up the return to live events. Braun Strowman did one. Johnny Drip Drip Morrison did one. We had Damian Priest do one. And then after Strowman's little promo, we had our match between McIntyre and Kofi Kingston. Good match between these guys. I mean, it's good wrestling. I'm not going to deny the in-ring skills of these guys. But I had a hard time paying attention. Caitlyn was even saying, like, why are you not focused on this? And I told her because I feel like this is not going to have a clean finish. It's hard for me to get into matches when I know most of the time there's going to be some kind of screwy finish, and it's going to mean nothing in the end. And this is an ongoing theme throughout this show. Let me just throw that out there. So, good match here. Drew McIntyre did a reverse Alabama slam on the apron to Kofi. That was pretty cool. And beat him down for a while. Hit a Michinoku driver. He kept trying to put Kofi away, but Kofi kept kicking out. And MVP and Lashley were up on the stage, the VIP lounge with the ladies. And eventually Drew went shoulder first into the post, which gave Kofi an opportunity to make a comeback. He hit the SOS, got a near fall. And then we had Lashley and MVP come down to ringside because Drew was taunting them earlier. They sat down at ringside by the announcers, and if you've watched Wrestling for Hell, 6 months, 5 years, 30 years, you know how this goes. When somebody's there sitting at ringside, they interfere. Always happens, and usually it starts when one of the competitors gets knocked into them. And sure enough, Kofi comes off the top, knocks Drew McIntyre into Lashley, so Lashley just has to get into the ring, and he attacks both guys, causing a disqualification. We were about 40 minutes into Raw, and absolutely nothing was settled here. 40 minutes, no payoff. It's a bunch of crap. If you're gonna do the screwy finish, do it and have the match take place in one segment. You don't have to have 40 minutes dedicated to these three guys, and then there's no payoff. And they announced something for next week, which I guess will be the payoff. They're not doing it for the main event, and here's what happened. Backstage, Adam Pearce was confronted by McIntyre and Kofi Kingston. They were mad about their match being interrupted and stopped. So Pearce said that there would be a match next week with the winner facing Bobby Lashley at Hell in a Cell. That's fine and dandy, but why should I even bother? If I'm a viewer watching Raw, why should I bother with the rest of the show? Am I really going to stay and sit through 3 hours to see, with all due respect to the ladies, another Tamina and Natalya match against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler? Like, why would I stay up and watch that? No offense to them, but come on now. So yeah, they announced that, and if I'm a casual viewer, I'm like, okay, cool. Click. I'll tune in next week and see the match to find out what the match is for Hell in a Cell. So anyways, we had Rhea Ripley confronting Charlotte backstage. And by the way, Walter Cruz sent in a $2 super chat, so let me back up here for a second. He says, this is pointless. We all know Drew McIntyre is winning. Yeah, I mean, I doubt we're going to see Kofi Kingston versus Bobby Lashley at Hell in a Cell. So, yeah, it's just stalling for time until we get the inevitable final match between Lashley and McIntyre to settle their score once and for all, whatever. And Kadeem sent in a $5 super chat. Kadeem Gomez, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Says, hey, Aaron, why is Vince McMahon always having a fetish for rematches on every Monday night? It's just their lazy booking. It's a formula that they follow, and if they can keep their 1.8 million viewers, they'll just stick to the format that works for them, and that's what Vince likes. Right now, it's a lame duck period. I feel like these Raw episodes until mid-July are going to be really rough, and for the first couple weeks, I'm sure they'll be good. With the fans back, it'll be fun and exciting to have the fans and the interactions again. But how long? It's a Band-Aid. They need a creative overhaul really bad. And if nothing changes, the first few weeks it's going to be cool with the fans back. But by SummerSlam time or after SummerSlam, it's going to be right back to how it was before the pandemic. The crowd will be hot for the first hour, and then they'll slowly get burned out, and by the third hour, they'll just be dead, and the third hour will be just as difficult to watch as it's always been for the duration of the 3-hour Raws. Dr. NXT Scorpio with a $5 super chat, thank you for that, says, if someone told me that WWE is bringing back live fans and invited me to come to Raw as part of the live crowd, I would say no. Bad enough I watch Raw. Well, you could be worried about the virus too, but let's say the virus wasn't a factor at all. Yeah, I'm not even sure I would go to Raw if it was free. If they were coming to Detroit and it was free for me to go, I'm not even sure I would do it at this point, quite frankly. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, are there any stars being built up on Raw? Nope. Thank you for that. Hamp Kana with a $5 super chat, thank you, Hamp, says, they've always had a rematch / 50-50 booking fetish. It's just a lot more obvious with 3-hour Raws. For sure, and this week in particular was bad. And we'll get to that more here in a minute with the 50-50 booking. So anyways, Rhea Ripley confronted Charlotte, and Charlotte said Rhea Ripley just wants to be her, and I'm like, whatever. And said it's going to be them at Hell in a Cell. But then Nikki Cross showed up and said she could beat both of them. She challenged either of them. And Charlotte said she already had a match with Asuka, but Rhea Ripley was willing to step up. And the match stipulation was that, well, it was a beat the clock match. And Rhea Ripley had 2 minutes to beat Nikki Cross. And if she failed to do it, Nikki Cross would be the winner. What a stupid stipulation. Anyways, Rhea got frustrated and she completely forgot about the time. And Nikki Cross won because she survived 2 minutes. Stupid booking here because Nikki Cross looks like a complete prelim wrestler. Like she's that pathetic, that much of a loser that she just needs to survive for 2 minutes to win a match. And then Rhea looks like an idiot for losing her cool and not paying attention to the clock. So nobody gets over. Nobody. It did nothing for either of them. And then Charlotte arrived for her match with Asuka, which was a good match, but we just saw it the other week. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Whatever. I'm not even sure. But as soon as they announced this match, I'm like, okay, Charlotte gets her win back. Like, WWE sometimes doesn't do the 50-50 booking, but with Charlotte, you're like, okay, no way Charlotte's losing twice in a row to Asuka. When they're building up the next pay-per-view, Asuka already lost in the triple threat. They're done with her as far as the main event push goes in the women's division. Charlotte's winning this. So it's like, I don't care because I know the outcome, and match was good, but again, struggled for me to get invested in it. Charlotte, with a chop block, got the advantage, worked over the leg. Asuka avoided a moonsault, hit a German suplex, and they fought on the outside for a while. But then Charlotte countered the Asuka lock and picked up the pinfall victory. And they did announce Hell in a Cell, Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley, yay. So wait a minute. 50-50 booking, right? So they each won a match, but Charlotte just gets the match at Hell in a Cell. I'm not saying they should do this, but shouldn't there be like a rubber match to determine who gets the Hell in a Cell spot? Isn't that unfair to Asuka? I guess Asuka already lost at the pay-per-view, so that's technically 2 losses for her. She's out of the picture. I don't know. I don't care. I really don't. Curtis Butler with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, Raw rematches almost weekly. Nick Glavin says, I don't know how you can watch Raw live. You deserve an award. Well, I don't want an award. I just do it because it's my job, and I'm trying to give you guys the best recap I can. But yeah, it's a chore, and it's just getting more difficult, it seems, as the weeks go on. TJS says, just enjoy the show. And thank you for that, Road Dog. By the way, how about Road Dog's Facebook posts? We had Lashley backstage saying he was just trying to help Adam Pearce out by taking out those guys. Neither of them are contenders, but then Pearce fired back and said, if either of them interfere, last year MVP, they will be suspended for 90 days without pay. Now, if you suspend Lashley, why would you do that? If you're the GM, why would you suspend your champion? You'd have to strip him of the title, and he's supposed to be your big draw. Like, why not just say, hey, if you guys interfere, then it's going to be yet another triple threat match, which we all know Lashley hates the triple threats. Like, that seems more logical than suspending them without pay. Like, that just seems stupid. Like, take away your star attraction. And he would be gone for Raw on July 16th when the fans return. That's less than 90 days away. So Adam Pearce is a moron. Why would he do that? Dumb. We had Cedric Alexander versus Shelton Benjamin again. And I was thinking, okay, I guess they're doing 50-50 booking. Like, they might not. But Shelton won the first one. And is Shelton really going to win twice against Cedric? So Cedric said he had something to get off his chest, which was just the same stuff he already said, that Hurt Business actually kicked Shelton Benjamin out, and Cedric was just collateral damage, yada, yada, yada. They had the match. Cedric blocked the T-bone attempt, which was how Shelton won last time. Cedric did his trash talking. Shelton made a comeback, but then Cedric cheated with a thumb to the eye and did his springboard kick to the face and picked up the victory. Yawn, 50-50 booking. Wrestling was good, but I don't care about it. The booking is that bad. Like, these guys could do the best match in the world, and it would be hard for me to care. We had Matt Riddle versus Xavier Woods, which was probably the best match of the show because it was the first time they've ever had a one-on-one match. So at least it was something different. At least it wasn't a rematch or something that's just been overdone. It was unique. And I guess it did continue a storyline because Randy Orton is frustrated, and this was Riddle's way to kind of show that he's still with Randy Orton and he wants to make it up to Orton by taking out Xavier Woods. In this sense, it did advance a storyline. One of the few occurrences on this Raw episode where a storyline was advanced and actually made sense. So a good match here. Xavier did a DVD onto the apron, and they had a series of tombstone counters, which was actually done on Dynamite with Cody and QT Marshall. Riddle suplexed Xavier back into the ring. They went back and forth a little bit more, but then out of nowhere, Riddle hit the RKO, Randy Orton's finisher, to pick up the win. I liked that. Again, this was probably the best thing of Raw, in my opinion. And we had AJ Styles versus Jackson Ryker. Wow, that's a match I've always wanted to see. I mean, they probably wrestled in Impact Wrestling, but oh boy, yeah. The bucket list for me is seeing Jackson Ryker versus AJ Styles, you know. And when this was announced, I'm like, okay, AJ beats him quickly. Let's just have this take place. Quick 5-minute match, AJ wins, move on. But guess what? That was not what happened. Neither Omos nor Elias were at ringside for this, yet Elias still managed to interfere. He snuck his way to ringside and hit Styles with a knee, and Styles was sent back into the ring, and Ryker pinned AJ Styles. That's right, Jackson Ryker, a guy who I'm not even sure why he's employed, beat AJ Styles, the former WWE champion, because he got to set up a tag team title match that nobody on planet Earth, except for your most diehard WWE fans, could possibly care about. Psycho Jet Black says, are AJ Styles and Omos faces now? I guess. Anyways, speaking of Omos, after the match was over, Omos ran down to the ring. Was he paying homage to the Ultimate Warrior because we got 2 Warrior documentaries? Styles was helped out by Omos. Omos ran the 2 bad guys off, and he actually bum rushed Elias into the LED stage board, and then he went to go check on Styles. This was more entertaining than the match itself, I have to say, with Omos running around. So yeah, as TJS says, it's just the formula to set up a tag team title match. Boring. We had another video of Eva Marie working out, and this time she was doing all this training and talking about how she trains others to be better versions of themselves. Boring. And then we had Sheamus versus Humberto. Why are we seeing this match? Like, it's just the same thing we've already seen with these guys. Sheamus won using the tights. Why does he need the tights to beat Humberto? Like, AJ Styles, or not AJ Styles, Sheamus should be beating Humberto in 2 minutes. Bro kick, end of it. Why does he need to cheat to win against this scrub? And then after the match, Sheamus continued to beat him up. Ricochet made the save, so it's basically 2-on-1 here. They double teamed Sheamus. Humberto hit a moonsault. Ricochet hit the 450. So they're going to do a handicap match now? Why should I care about this? Who gets over from this? Sheamus, he has to, he beats 2 guys. I guess that gets him over. But the other 2 guys, they lose to 1 guy. Like, that's going to make them look bad. Like, I don't see how this is a win for either side. Like, how does anybody get over from this? I don't know. And Sheamus is a heel too. So the heel overcoming 2 guys. But maybe Ricochet's a heel now? I don't know. He's going around sore loser. I'm so confused with this storyline. I don't know who I'm supposed to care about. And I have no desire to see this match. Like, they're going to do a handicap match. I presume that's what they're doing with how this played out. I don't care. And I think neither side looks good coming out of this. Unless Sheamus is turning heel and he beats the shit out of both guys. Like, I don't see how this benefits anybody. So anyways, with that being said, we had our main event for the women's tag team titles. And Tamina, I'm sure, is a wonderful person, Natalya, but yeah. Before the match, we had Shayna Baszler trying to get Nia Jax focused and blamed their recent losses on Reginald interfering and said that Reginald will not be appearing at ringside. He needs to stay in the back. And we had the match, and sure enough, Reginald shows up. I mean, who saw this one coming, folks? I can't believe it. Reginald showed up when he was told not to come to ringside. Oh my God. Dr. NXT Scorpio with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Dr. NXT Scorpio. Says, I hate to say it, but no matter how bad and awful and repetitive Raw is, it gets people talking and arguing about it. God, this show sucks, LOL. Yeah, seriously. But you know what? There's still 1.8 million people that will, Vince will just stick it out and they'll eat it. They'll take whatever Vince gives to them. Hamp Kana with the $2 super chat says, you need a vacation, come to Disney World with me. Somebody wants to hook me up with Disney World, I'll definitely consider it. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, glad Roman Reigns is far away from Raw's booking. Yeah, really. I mean, Roman Reigns, he must have some kind of creative control because the stuff he does on SmackDown compared to Raw, like, it's hard to believe it's the same company. It really is. It's night and day. It's fascinating how different the quality is between Raw and SmackDown, and in particular, Roman Reigns' storylines. So anyways, Reginald shows up. Tamina gets the hot tag, and they do their slingshot super kick combo. Nia Jax made the save, and then Reginald gets on the apron. Shayna counters the sharpshooter into a pinfall, but because the referee was preoccupied with Reginald, same thing that we've been seeing the past month now, it was a delayed pin, and Natalya was able to kick out. Shayna got very angry. She told Reginald to go to the back. He did so, and then all of a sudden, Kane's pyro went off, but I guess it's Alexa Bliss. She wasn't actually on the show, but that's what I believe it was, Alexa Bliss screwing with Shayna Baszler for some reason. And Reginald was blinded. Natalya inside cradle to Shayna, who was distracted. So Shayna loses yet again. Nia Jax and Shayna lose. Natalya and Tamina win another match, and it means nothing because of all the outside interference. So it doesn't elevate them as champions. accomplishes nothing. And afterwards, you had Shayna going up to Reginald, calling him a son of a bitch, and challenged him to a match for next week's Raw. Boy, I'm excited for that one, folks. That's so exciting. That is like the match I've been waiting for. That's my dream match. Reginald versus Shayna Baszler. We'll get to see Reginald do all of his somerset flips again, his little acrobatic act. You know, even though we've seen that a bunch of times now, it's going to be her trying to catch him and he's doing all that. Like, it's the same old shit. We can call it before we see it. And what's the point of it? Shayna beats the crap out of him? Okay, fine. But Shayna could possibly lose it. She might. Like, I don't get it. Mike B with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Mike B. Says, I barely watched 5 minutes of Raw because playoff hockey is way more entertaining and fun to watch than shitty Raw. Just came here for the review. Well, thank you. I do appreciate that. And with that, I'm done with the Raw recap. That was 3 hours of Monday Night Raw. 3 hours of my life that I will not be getting back. But hey, we had a fun live stream tonight. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Dr. NXT Scorpio with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Says, those 1.8 million can go fork themselves if they think Raw is good. LOL, these dumb fans need to start waking up. Not going to watch Raw next week. LOL. Literally one thing that saved this show. Like, I really want to go with an F. But, you know what? Screw it. F plus. I don't remember the last time I gave a show an F. And I'm giving it a plus because of Xavier and Riddle. My show, my live stream, I'm giving it an F plus. Worst Raw of the year. Did absolutely nothing for me. Any of you could have skipped this show and missed absolutely nothing. You could have saved yourself 3 hours of your life. You could have watched AEW Dark Elevation or just spent some time with your family. So many other things you could have done with your time that would have been way more productive than watching this 3-hour shitfest. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, who's Lashley's next opponent after McIntyre? Well, who even says that Lashley's going to be champion after Hell in a Cell? McIntyre could win it back, and then Lashley goes back to fighting Riddle or some shit like that. Bruce Marfo says, what did Road Dogg say on Facebook? Well, it's up on NoDQ.com if you want to look that up. There is a post about that. Looks like a lot of people are going with Fs for this. They're all with me here on this one. Dr. NXT Scorpio Israel giving it a straight F. Terry with an F minus, which is the lowest of the low. Daniel Sims with an F minus. Michael Wayne with an F plus. And Matt Helms also gives it an F plus. CC Drink a little bit more positive with a D. And the game is on 100 with an F. And Mike B says this review A plus, Raw F. Don Bowen with a D minus. Oh god, that Raw was just boring and counterproductive and just a waste of time. Dr. NXT Scorpio with a $2 super chat says, even WCW 2000 wasn't this bad, LOL. Say what you will about Vince Russo. At least those 2000 WCW shows, they were counterproductive, but they were entertaining train wrecks. This show was just boring as hell and counterproductive at the same time. Very few redeeming qualities about this episode of Raw. Other than the wrestling was all right. Everybody had fine matches. It's just the writing is terrible and nothing means anything, so it's hard to really care about what's happening. I feel bad for the wrestlers that the show is just so poorly written. And again, they're on autopilot now. I really think they're on autopilot until July. And I think things are going to be like this until July 16th. I really do. That's when, July 19th for Raw. I mean, SmackDown's been pretty consistently good. But yeah, July 19th, we might see Raw improve, at least short term, and probably a good deal of that will be due to the fans being back. I don't know if the quality of the show will necessarily get any better, but they will start building up SummerSlam, so it might get better for a little bit. Just, I'm not expecting much long term unless they make some drastic changes, and they really do. This show was just the absolute shits. Anyways, guys, on that note, thank you again, and stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest. Stay tuned to the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on notification bells for updates. We got a lot of content coming up this week. 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on Wednesday. We'll be doing predictions for Double or Nothing. Tune in for that. Take care, everybody, and I will see you all